In August of 2008, I found myself fatigued. I was actually taking about 3-hour naps in the middle of the day, every single day. And when I woke up, instead of feeling rested, I was still feeling exhausted. And so for a while, I had convinced myself that it was because I was burning the candle at both ends. I was a busy mom of 4. I ran my own business in the evenings, and I'd actually been homeschooling my kids for 5 years. So I said, I'm just tired. But I finally realized that that was not normal. And my husband really convinced me that I needed to go find out what was happening. And given my family history of colon cancer, I knew that was a very real possibility. But up to that point, I was very diligent about getting my regular colonoscopies. We were eating organic food as a family. I was already exercising. My health was really a priority to me and to my family. But in spite of my best efforts, I became severely anemic and was admitted to the hospital and needed a blood transfusion. And this led to the colonoscopy, and they discovered I had colon cancer. They believed at that point that it was stage 3, that it hadn't spread to any of my vital organs. And I was diagnosed at the very same age with the very same type of cancer that my dad had died from when I was a little girl. At that point, I was 37 years old. But after the surgery, they did a post-surgery scan, and then they discovered that it indeed had already spread to my liver. I was at that point stage 4. It's funny because sometimes I tell people that fear can be even more difficult than managing the cancer itself. I remember feeling overwhelmed, thinking about not seeing my children grow up and growing old with my husband. And I had to convince myself that my story not necessarily had to be my dad's story. My outcome could be different. But truthfully, a big part of me believed I was on the same path. Diagnosed at 37, dead at 39. I could always hear those little whispers in my ear, especially after I found out it had spread to my liver. And they told me I had a less than 8% chance of survival at that point. So we quickly realized, okay, I have a choice to make here. And am I going to give into this fear? Or as a Christian, am I going to live by faith and fight? We really had to go back to our roots and what we believed. And we believed that God did not give me a spirit of fear, and that He promised that He would never fail me, and that He would never leave me, and that He promised that He would be faithful even when I was all out of faith. So I just remember using His words to remain strong and courageous and quit being terrified and just trust Him for my outcome. We actually interviewed 3 different oncologists at that point after my surgery, and we were researching. My husband was in the wellness industry for 20 years, so he was researching every anti-cancer approach possible that was out there. And in that process, we were interviewing oncologists, and all of them were saying the same basic routine where chemotherapy, and that was the avenue I had to take. But we really wrote up a list of questions for them, and one of them was, okay, at this point when I was stage 3, should I go through with the chemotherapy? What are my chances of survival with the chemotherapy? And at stage 3, they said, oh, well, 67%. We're like, okay, that's not bad. And then we asked the next question, which was, without the chemotherapy, my staging, my health, lymph nodes affected, what are my odds of survival as a 37-year-old woman? We were shocked to find out that the oncologist said 57%. I was amazed, and we just both looked at each other and we said, you mean to tell me that we're going to destroy everything that is good for a 10% benefit? With my dad's history, I thought, goodness, after 25 years, I would think that there had been so many huge advancements that I would have had an 80-90% chance of survival at that point. And we just knew that that was just not the avenue to take. We just believed that. And in those weeks ahead, 2 people from different walks of life referred us to our natural physician who's been using what I use to fight my cancer, Mistletoe treatments. 2 friends from different walks of life within that same week said to me, Ivelisse, you need to meet with Dr. Hinderberger, Dr. Peter Hinderberger. And I knew that that was a sign that I needed to listen to that. And we made an appointment with him. We were sitting in his office, and my husband had already set up this great protocol for me with a special diet, high alkaline diet, and supplements necessary for my type of cancer. And he said, all of these things are great. He said, but Ivelisse, in my practice, the backbone of treating and preventing future cancer is mistletoe. And he says, you need something stronger, especially after the surgeries, that you can go in there and remove those microscopic cancer cells, and mistletoe will do that. And the great thing with it, unlike chemotherapy, it will not have any side effects, and it helps boost your immune system to fight, especially when you're immune compromised after cancer. I had been following Jordan Rubin's The Maker's Diet for years. We actually just adjusted that, and we eliminated a lot of the meat, and especially for colon cancer, you want to avoid red meat. I still did eat organic chicken, but I don't eat a lot of it, being cautious of portion sizes. I was actually doing juicing. I also was taking Juice Plus, which also helped on top of all the fruits and vegetables that I was taking. I was taking a juice that a friend of my mom's told me about that was really helpful, which had a little bit of beet and a little bit of apples, and she would juice this for me every morning, and I would take it. I was eating a lot of greens for salads with salmon on top. My typical breakfast is Ezekiel muffins. I would have a little bit of eggs, organic free-range eggs. The main thing that I really tried to avoid, and I did avoid, I was very strict on, was white flour. I completely eliminated sugar, not even that little piece of cake during birthdays and all of that, because we're in the middle of a battle. And when you're trying to fight something as strong as cancer, you need to go all out and be serious about it. I will tell you that now, almost 5 years out, I will have that treat now and then, but it's not a common occurrence, it's a treat. I really believed in what we were eating and what we were doing, and with the mistletoe alongside that, I really felt very confident that we were going to do well and beat it. And in the case of mistletoe, what they actually do is that they have you take a series of extracts, and it starts from like D all the way to F. And once your body has a reaction to it, it's almost like a little mosquito bite size reaction. It will say that is the right extract for you and knows that that's what's working well for your body. So even though someone may have the same type of cancer, same type of staging, your internal environment is completely different. So you may need a different extract than what I was on. And at that point, I was taking mistletoe subcutaneously every other day. It's an injection. It's almost similar to a very tiny diabetic needle. I am not a needles person, so it's like really every other day. But it was very simple to do and painless. It's used all over the world, actually, and for the last 100 years, it's been used for cancer treatment. It's used widely in Germany and Switzerland for cancer treatment. They work with malignant and non-malignant tumors. For those individuals who do go the conventional route with chemotherapy, it does help to offset the nausea, the vomiting, the lack of appetite. It helps to diminish tumor-related pain. And then lastly, which is why I'm still on it, and I take it 2 times a week now, it helps to prevent reoccurrence. It keeps to maintain your immune system strong and fighting for your body.